Get ready for takeoff because it's the Take Flight Talk. It's your boy, James Woody. We got Fitz. But whoa. Hold up. We got somebody else here in the cockpit. It's Abby. Woo! Oh, hit him with it, Abby. Welcome to Take Flight Talk. Please tell us, how are you feeling?
Me? I'm like, oh gosh. I don't know. I really don't know. This week has just been super, super crazy. One, I'm like super excited to see Mike and stuff like that. But to be honest, I really wasn't expecting this. I fully expected, I thought on Monday when he said that, it's kind of up in the air, I was like, oh, Zach is going to start if he does bad at the half, he's just going to make this change then. And then on Wednesday, I wake up and I'm like, it's like so much crap happened in the middle. And yeah, I'm excited. I don't have any problem. Like, I think he's confident. People have been talking about him and he looks good in practice. So, I'm hyped now. We got to kind of keep it pushing and moving forward. I'm hyped the Patriots lost yesterday too. So we're good there.
Yes, that is true. Fitz, how you feeling?
I could not possibly be happier. A month ago, went very under the radar, but Robert Saleh made a move of elevating Mike White to QB2 and demoting elite Joe Flacco, my ass elite Joe Flacco to QB3. And that move is what set this whole transition up. We are in a position right now, and I gotta do a quick shout out to Robert Saleh. I think he was given a very difficult decision to make here this week, and he made the right one. For us to go and be having 2.77 inches per play in the second half, 2.77 inches. That's a number I'm familiar with. But the problem is that when you go and have that be your average per play for an entire half. That is the most disgusting. Wide receivers get open on this team. We have a very good wide receiver core. There's been numerous conversations. Mike Anania at it again. He exposed all these open receivers the entire game against the Patriots. The Patriots have a good defense, sure. Belichick punishes young quarterbacks, sure. There's no reason. He did it to himself. And when you're in this position, when you've got a second overall draft pick, that's your guy. You drafted him. That's your guy. You put all this confidence with him. The kid with the keys is what he's noted. And you go and have him perform like that, or a lack of performance, better I say. That's unforgivable. When you go and tack on his attitude in the pressers afterwards saying, oh, no, wasn't on me. This was a very difficult decision to make. This could go and kick a lot of confidence out of your young quarterback. But he needs to be humbled. I think he has been an entitled little brat for a long time in his life. And I liked him. I was a diehard Zach Wilson fan when we first drafted him. But this was a tough decision that Saleh made. He made the right decision. Mike White has proven that he can do things. He can hit open receivers. He's good with the quick passes. He's very good with decision-making. So, again, big shout-out to Saleh for doing what he did. Very difficult decision. Who knows what's going to happen? And that's the thing. One last thing before I want to hear what Woody's got to say is the bar is so low for expectations. 2.77 inches per play in the second half. He can go and throw for a foot per play. We can have this is a foot per play, and it's like, wow, we're moving. This is nice. So I'm excited to see what he could do. He had one of the most efficient games in the NFL last year against the Bengals. Obviously, he had a bad game against the Bills last year. But I'm excited to see a commitment to the team as a whole and not just to your ego of I drafted this guy. I promise. I swear he's going to be good. This defense is championship caliber defense. Our offense is high school. Yorktown High School football could beat the crap out of this Jets offense. So I'm excited to go and see what this amounts to. But expectations, it's not like we need him to do what he did against the Bengals to beat the Bears defense. Are you kidding me? I think he's going to be coming out. He's going to ball, and I hope that's the case. But Woody, what are you thinking?
For all of us, I don't think we know what the future holds. We don't know. What we do know is that right here, right now, we are going to face the Bears. Right, Revis will be Ring of Honor. Right, that's all this week, and we're gonna go and we're gonna play this football game. Mike White. I'm tired of people. If anybody, I'm telling you right now. All right, I will be at Whole Foods tomorrow getting some groceries. Anybody who says that Mike White had one good game, come find me at Whole Foods and we will square up, because that is just not true. It's simply not true. He played decently against the Pats. Mm-hmm. He was actually doing work against the Colts before getting hurt, and then put his jersey up in Canton, the only current Jet with his jersey in Canton, Mike White. Mike White, all right, with the game of a lifetime, all right, the swaggiest 2-point conversion I ever did see. This man, I'm not saying he's Peyton Manning. I'm not even saying the man is Derek Carr. But what I am saying is that this is somebody who believes in himself, all right? Mm-hmm. On the field, off the field, he believes in himself. He believes he's QB1. And when he started the season and he was QB3, did he cry? No. All right, he just continued to work hard, earn the trust of his teammates, earn the trust of his coaches. That's what real adults do, all right? And Zach, he's out here pouting, he's doing all this stuff. And I think this decision, because Abby, I agree with you. I thought they were going to have Zach start with a short leash. I think the reason why they made this decision was because Zach did lose people in the locker room. And the way that Salah answered that question when they asked him, if he truly didn't lose the locker room, Salah would have been like, nah, there was none of that. But he was like, no, there was irritation. All right. That's him just, pretty much saying like, yeah, guys were mad. Guys were mad. But who's been working, putting their head down the whole time? Mike White. And we know what he's going to do. He's going to make great pre-snap reads. He's going to throw the ball extremely accurately if it's within 10 yards. If it's over that, we gotta hope that, Garrett makes a play. And we might see some picks. But we know we're going to see good decisions almost each and every time. His picks aren't, just boneheaded. Like what they are inaccurate balls that get away from him. I'm sorry. He doesn't have the physical gifts. But he has a great mind and a great confidence. If Zach had Mike White's mental intangibles, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to see what Mike White can do. I am.
Well, it's funny because one thing I want to say there too, where look at Geno Smith. We brought up Geno Smith on this podcast a few times. Where, for goodness sake, did we have the right guy but the wrong year when we were drafting? And I think it seems to be the case. But when you go and had Mike White last year, he never had an opportunity in the Cowboys. We bring him in. We finally got him an opportunity. He got to see what live football felt like. And he had a very fast few weeks where he was given the QB1 nod. And now it's like he's got a whole year to process what happened on the field, game time, speed. I think we're going to come out and what you're saying, we're going to see picks. It's possible. I mean, if we're going to go and look at the past as a justification for what to expect, sure, that's a transition. However, Geno Smith, I hate to say this, he's been balling out there in Seattle. He's been balling. So who's to say that Mike White can't have a come up like Geno did in a fraction of the decade that it took Geno Smith to figure it out? I think Mike White, with the intangibles, like you said, his head is in the right place. I think he can come out there, and I think he could limit the turnovers. And if he's able to do that, then Zach Wilson's going to be struggling to find that opportunity before the end of the year, like Salah promised, is going to happen. Abby, what do you think?
I mean, I think this is a good game for Mike White to get his kind of feet wet in. And like, if we're going to move forward with him, this is a perfect time for him to kind of get out all those kinks and whatever. Honestly, though, I'm going to say something and people are probably going to disagree with me. I know like a lot of people are so excited to see Mike White. They were like chanting for him, I think, like back a couple of weeks ago. I'm not as hyped. I'm excited to see him, obviously, with the QB change, but he's not the answer to our problem. And I'm still mad that our quarterback that we drafted at second in the draft is going to be on the bench. Like that's not he's not the long-term solution to our problem.
Well, Abby, what you said there, I think the excitement is more on the Zach has shown that he sucks.
Yeah.
And we don't know with White. I think that's where the excitement comes from, is we're making an adjustment despite the investment we had in Zach. And I think this excitement strictly coming from the the excitement of the unknown. And I'm with you entirely, because this is not a step in the right direction.
No, no.
But who knows if Mike White can come out and ball? Because look, if Zach ain't it, if he doesn't come back before the end of the season and do nothing, do we roll with him again next season? Do we set ourselves up for the potential failure there? Or if Mike White, Streveler, dare I say, I'm a Streveler fan, whoever it ends up being, if we've got quarterbacks on the roster that we haven't seen what they could really do, being QB1 for a little bit. And I think that's exciting when we have a defense as good as it is.
No matter what happens this year, Zach cannot be the only QB. Like, we cannot roll into next year with these same QBs.
No.
Like no matter what happens.
It's funny how many people in the comments too are calling for Streveler. They want to kind of see him play because of how well he did in the preseason. I wouldn't be opposed to that either, but
I mean, I'm not one of those. I'm sorry. I can't.
Neither am I, but I'm just saying.
I know Fitz got the Streveler tattoo on his back, but I can't do it. I can't co-sign that. White, we know. Like, we've seen him play. We kind of know what to expect. Like, he's definitely not the long-term answer. And that's one thing that I keep saying, like, like, we're going to play White. Like, is he the long-term answer? Like, just get Zach in there. If we were 2-9, all right, let Zach do whatever he wants, like what we were doing last year. But we were 6-3. I mean, we were a drive away from being number one in the tightest division in the National Football League, the AFC East, where we had two teams playing yesterday on Thanksgiving, the Bills doing work. Yep. The Patriots losing a very,
they almost lost. The Bills almost lost. They were a field goal away. And we're going to have the Lions this season too. That's going to be a problem game.
That it will. There are some good teams on the docket. I mean, both of those, the Vikings and the Lions are two teams that we will face.
Oh yeah.
So we should have won that game. And now that we're in this position where we're trying, and if we win this week, right, we won't be last in the AFC East anymore because the Pats just lost. We need to win. That's the bottom line. We need to win. And if Zach ain't doing it, and we can argue, going back to every, people keep saying, he's 5-2, he's 5-2. Besides the Steelers, can you really say that Zach was the reason why we won?
Absolutely not.
So let's try with White, because in the Bengals game, for damn sure, he was the reason why we won. Mike White was doing work.
He went off that game.
Yeah, he went off. Can't recognize. Even the Colts game, which in the end was a blowout. I mean, we got run on. Like, our defense, we literally led up like 260 rushing yards. But that game was a one-score game when Mike White got hurt. We fell down. Mike White scored a touchdown, fell down. It was 14-7. Then he got hurt, and then the game ran away.
Who did we bring in? Like Steve Stevenson? It was Josh Johnson, right?
Johnson.
those double first names, they kill me.
He
wasn't that bad, though, himself. He wasn't that bad.
He was not. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we need QBs that will actually be the catalyst, not just, riding along for the ride. So in that vein, let's do it. I'm thinking this will be a Jets win. Is this a good time for some score predictions?
Before we get into score predictions, I do want to ask Abby, I want to have this go around because we're talking about the Jets a lot here. Are we afraid of the Bears? We have a game time decision for Justin Fields. He might not play. I want him to play personally. I want us to beat the guy that we passed on. We've gotten a lot of criticism beginning of the season. Oh, who'd you beat? Oh, you won some games? Oh, against what quarterback? QB2, Teddy Bridgewater, and then that other idiot that came in. So, Abby, are you afraid of the Bears, whether it's Fields or Trevor Siemian?
Not at all. I mean, I want him to play because, like you said, people have been telling me all season, you guys have played backup QBs, and I get so sick of hearing about it.
Yep.
But honestly, he shouldn't even be playing, especially with his injury. I honestly think that would be a bad decision for the Bears. And then, of course, you got Trevor Siemian, former Jet. I remember that play he got injured. It was awful, just awful play where he got injured. But no, I don't think so at all. I wouldn't be worried about them. They have I think they have the worst defense, if I'm correct, in the NFL. And then I'm pretty secure on our defense. So that's what I'm saying. As long as Mike White just kind of goes out there and is just efficient, we're going to get by this game, no problems at all. Especially being at MetLife and especially being at home. So,
yep.
I completely agree. As long as Mike White is efficient. Just a fun fact for those of you who have read the Woody 3, coming into this game, if we're looking at the last 3 games, because the Bears recently started surging after they beat the Patriots, which to Fitz's point, right, that's an example of a sophomore QB hanging 33 on Belichick's head in a 19-point victory. But since that game, right, they've been on a tear. So for the last 3 games, the Bears have the worst defense in the NFL, but we've had the worst offense in our last 3 games, and they've had the 5th best offense versus our 5th best defense. So it should be an even matchup, but what do we know that wasn't the case for those last 3 games? First of all, Justin Fields is hurt. The catalyst of their offensive success was him suddenly rushing for 15 times a game. The boy broke the NFL record for most touchdowns. I mean, most rushing yards by a QB in the history of the NFL.
In half a season.
Like what he's doing right now is unbelievable. He's been rushing so much that he just jumped up into top 5 in the entire NFL in rushing yards. That's not even his position. And the boy is still, I mean, he's not a great, thrower, right? He's not a great pocket passer. He does have 13 TDs, which is what? 3 times more than Zach. But, all good. I don't think he's going to be rushing with that shoulder injury, right? Because you fall one time, and he actually really shouldn't play. Abby's right.
Right.
If you care about your QB at all, why are you making him play? You guys are 3-8. Like, what are you guys doing? So I do think it should be Simeon, but if it is Fields, we're gonna lock that boy up. I mean, do I have to mention Tyrod Taylor, Teddy Bridgewater, Jerry Jeudy? I mean, we be clapping people, clapping them out the game. Whether it's Quincy, DJ Reed was the one that knocked out Jeudy. So I mean, if Fields is out there, I mean, whether it's a legal hit or a John Franklin Myers, late hit, Fields is in danger. So I would not play him. I'm not worried about the Bears. If he was healthy, I would be very worried. I would actually. I would be shivering. But no, he's not healthy, so I'm not worried whether it's him or Simeon. We should wrap that up. And then Mike White, just if he doesn't throw picks, we literally will win by like 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't agree more. And I think we're all in alignment on this. I think the one thing that I'd say, so I just went on to ESPN.com and I looked at the depth chart for the Bears offense. If Justin Fields does not play, they do not have a QB3 listed. This defense is so freaking mean. Trevor Siemian. If he starts the game, I'm not confident he finishes the game. We're going to hurt this guy. We are going to take him out, just like we did Teddy Bridgewater, just like we will do any quarterback that is not really supposed to be there. So just to kind of have this lead into the score predictions, I really think even if Fields play, we kills. Even if Fields is 100%, Fields is in a tremendous young quarterback. I think he's got a very bright future. I am kicking myself in the ass still for us not picking him up and taking Zach instead. But when you go and look at what our defense does, Fields ain't doing what he's been doing the past few weeks against this defense. That's just not happening. And I will push back a little bit, Woody. I think he's a better passer than people give him credit for. He's not tremendous at passing. He's a run-first quarterback. I think that's what gets him his name. But, we went and held Lamar Jackson to 17 rush yards when we played against them. Lamar's the original. He's the OG. Is he a quarterback or a running back question? So, and for us to go and do that on him, former MVP, I think that goes and shows this defense is something different. So if we're going to talk about the Bears, no, if it was Fields, I wouldn't be concerned. I would be more concerned than not, or than if it was Simeon. But Simeon's going to start the game. If Simeon starts the game, my prediction, he doesn't finish the game, and they go and have Darnell Mooney out there throwing the ball. I don't know who it's going to be. But it's not going to be Simeon the whole game. We're going to hurt him. We're going to hurt him bad. And this is the last thing I'll say before we get to score predictions is I loved Salah's statement today where he was asked, if Fields is going to play. And he's like, if he plays, we're going to hurt him. And if it's not him, we're going to hurt the next guy. And that's just this mentality that Salah brings. And I'm very excited about this game. I'm actually going to the game. So for all of our followers on Instagram, I'm going to be posting, doing a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to have a tailgate. It's going to be a blast. So plug into TFT, Take Flight Talk on Instagram. It's going to be a very good time. But Abby, what is the score going to be on Sunday?
Okay, so on Fridays, I normally take a screenshot of whatever the spread and everything looks like on FanDuel. And I posted it before I already did this. So I said we were going to win by 7. So basically, that doesn't leave me very many options. I think 24-17.
All right.
17. That's what I'm thinking.
You think they're scoring 17 on us?
I think there's going to be one defensive touchdown. I'm calling it now, but I think honestly,
like a Jets defensive touchdown.
Yeah, Jets defensive touchdown. Of course. No, and then you know what? If Mike White's good, he's good for 2 TDs.
Yeah.
So. But again, I was factoring into if what's his name is going to play this week. And if he does, I still think he's going to be doing his normal thing, running all over and stuff like that. I've actually put him in a couple of parlays and he's won them all. So
no, he is fantastic. Oh my, he has single-handedly rejuvenated my fantasy football team. He is unbelievable. So if he was playing, 17, easy, literally easy.
But the Jets will come out on top.
I'll see your 24-17, and I will raise you. I'm gonna raise the Jets score. I'm gonna decrease the Bears score. I'm gonna raise this margin of victory. I am saying, regardless of who is QB1, because Fields is hobbled, 30-13, the New York Jets. I think this will be a thrashing. Because Mike White is going to play efficient football. We should all expect a completion percentage of above like 68%. All right. He's just going to be finding guys, dumping guys. And he has playmakers. Like he has better playmakers now than he did back then when he was, getting all this yak for 400 yards. Now he's throwing it to Garrett Wilson in space. Garrett Wilson. All right. He's going to be in space. Michael Carter is faster this year. Okay. Elijah Moore. I got texts on my phone, people being like, yo, Woody, is it time to start, Elijah Moore this week? I said no. But, pick him up. If he's on waiver, I mean, he might come to life. Because he's another guy that's just electric in space. For the other side of the ball, I know these guys are itching for a defensive touchdown. I mean, I know MC2 Michael Carter is still sick that he had that pick six, that electric pick six that was just taken away. Sauce almost had that pick six in Lambeau that was taken away. These guys are itching. They're fiending for this pick six. So I know it's coming. And if it's Trevor Siemian out there, this might be the game. So 30-13. That's my prediction.
Abby, I gotta say, I'm a big fan of this call that Woody's gotten on board with too. The defensive touchdown. I might have to go and throw some money on that. 28-6. I think this is going to be an absolute massacre. I really do not see. I really cannot foresee Trevor Siemian. If it's Trevor Siemian or a hurt Justin Fields, this duo we have at cornerback it's something different, guys. And especially when you go and factor in it's Darrelle Revis Ring of Honor Day. There's going to be something in the air. Our corners and our safeties will be coming out ready like, hey, come at me. Yeah, it's Whitehead's cousin, ain't it?
Yeah, Jordan Whitehead's cousin.
I think we're going to be seeing an absolute clinic of a performance from our secondary. And that's going to go and provide some very, very tough issues. Khalil Herbert is on IR, so we only got David Montgomery to worry about. David Montgomery, he's not bad. But I mean, he hasn't really been, doing what he did in some games last year. Even if you look at last year, it's kind of flashes. This year too, it's flashes. He'll have very good games, and then he'll go and be like, oh, Why did I start him again? I got James Conner on the bench. What the hell am I doing? So I think it's gonna be 28-6. It might be less for the Jets. We might have less points than that, but I don't really see them getting a touchdown, especially not 2 touchdowns. But I'm excited about this game. I think we got some really cool stuff that we're working with right now, with James Robinson now being added to the mix as well for Mike White. I think he's going to have a great game. He's a screen guy. I think Mike White relies on that a lot. Ty Johnson had a touchdown in that Bengals game that we saw last year. I think he's going to rely on the receiving running backs a lot. But Woody, yet again, and I say this week after week after week, this Woody 3 is better than the last. This Woody 3. Another beautiful article, extremely well written. So break us through. We're going to start with obviously the White Knight. Lead us into the Woody 3 here. What should we be looking at?
Absolutely, White Knight. All right, 3 things. Those are the 3 things that I'm looking at. This isn't always just about the game, because one of these actually has to do with the season. But yeah, the 3 things that I'm looking at in terms of the Jets versus Bears: the White Knight, Mr. Mike White. All right, he gets too much flack. He has actually been fairly consistent so far, just with his short, easy throws. Excellent, literally excellent pre-snap reads. We know we can sleep at night just knowing that our QB is going to make great decisions all game. It's going to happen. Great throws, yeah, but great decisions all game. We know. Okay. The second thing was open fields tackles, right? Because we don't know if Fields is playing or not. All right. And there were a bunch of missed tackles against that Patriots team, but we were bending, not breaking. Right. So I'm not even worried. All right. We know that what our defense can do. And if Fields gets loose, I'm telling you, it will be so dumb. Matt Eberflus, please listen to your boy right here. We actually not boys, but listen to me anyway. All right. Do not start that man, because he will get hurt. He will get hurt. And then number 3, the coin.
Oh, don't get me started.
We got a lot to talk about on this coin.
This coin. If we lose this game, I cannot be talked out of being furious. I can't, right? I mean, Fitz guys winning by 22. Abby guys winning over the spread. We all are winning over the spread. If we lose to this 3-8 team, that might actually just shoot our playoff dream dead. It might. It really might. Right? 6-5 now. We don't have the tiebreaker against the Pats, so I won't be able to be talked off the ledge. But this coin, I mean, if the coin is right, who's going to be mad at that? Raise your hand if you're going to be mad with the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, you know what? No, I will. I'll be furious. Want to know why? Because this coin has us going and losing to Chicago, but beating Minnesota, Buffalo, Detroit, Seattle. If this coin ends up being right, the inconsistencies that would show would drive me out of my freaking head. And that would concern me going into next year, where it's like, if this coin ends up being right, this is the most same old Jets shit I've ever seen in my entire life. For us to go and sweep the Bills, but lose to the Bears, I don't understand. Like, this coin has to be wrong, and this has to be the week that it gets broken off.
Abby, do you believe in the coin?
No. Absolutely not. No. But then again, when I predicted the season, I had us at 9 wins. And I was like, oh, there's something wrong with this here. So I actually was like doubled back, and I was like, oh, we're only going to win like 7 or 6 games, and we're already here pretty much. But no, the coin has to be wrong this week. And +2, I don't know how I would be losing 2 weeks in a row. It just kind of shoots down the momentum of the whole rest of the season. So this has to not happen this week.
It actually is pretty underrated that we haven't lost 2 weeks in a row yet. Very underrated. So yeah, that would definitely stink for that to happen against the Bears. But
against the not 100% Fields Bears or the Trevor Siemian Bears. If we're gonna talk it up, like, honestly, if we lose this game, like, this is a problem. We are not only back to the drawing board, but if we lose this game, I think this dramatically increases us kind of going all in on a Lamar Jackson. This increases the chance. We'd have to, because like this team is so good outside of quarterback. It is so good outside of quarterback that if we lose against the injured Justin Fields or Trevor Siemian, if we lose to Trevor Siemian, you guys aren't going to hear from me again. I'm going to go missing. You're never going to hear from me. I'm just going to run off into the woods, and I'm going to be living with the Bears. I'm done. I'm going to have to live with the Bears. I'm going to have to have fist fights with the Bears. I'm going to have to take on a bear.
Honestly, too, I think we only have 3 more home games left, if I'm correct, too. The rest are all on the road. So this needs to be a home game, needs to be a win at this point in time.
We do good on the road, though, Abby.
I know, Road Warriors.
We are.
Mm-hmm.
This was just this was the first home loss. I mean, oh my God, can I speak? The first away loss that we've had, in Gillette. And that should have been a win. Oh my, I'm still sick. I'm literally still sick about it. 3 points. Couldn't do it. But this coin, if it is right, I will be hyped. I actually can't believe that you said that you wouldn't be hyped for a team that, has not made the playoffs since 2010. Just to make the playoffs, I'm hyped.
Mm-hmm.
Is that too low of a bar? Am I bugging?
It's not, but it's one of those things where if you were to tell me before the season started, hey Matt, we're going to go to the AFC Championship. We're going to lose, but we're going to make a playoff run here. We're going to the AFC Championship. I'd be like, yo, no way, let's go. But now I think expectations have changed, and I think that's happened for a lot of Jets fans where, losing to the Bears. Like, I don't care how the rest of the season, like, we need to now adjust to this is probably not going to be our season. That's fine. Like, obviously, getting the AFC Championship is not what I'm complaining about. If we can get there, God bless. But losing to the Bears would be tough when you got, this situation going on there, because that means that we've got nothing going on at quarterback, nothing in any string. If Mike White ain't it, we know Flacco ain't. I don't care what he did against Cleveland, because all he did against Cleveland was get lucky off an onside kick and have a wide open garbage time touchdown to Corey Davis. If we're being honest, I mean, it was great, but that shouldn't have happened. If we lose to the Bears and Trevor Siemian, you know what I mean? Like, that's the expectations have shifted through the season, and I wouldn't be able to sleep.
I really wouldn't be able to sleep knowing we started off the first half of the season so well and just fell apart at the end. Like, what were we doing the whole rest of the time?
Yep.
Yeah. So, Abby, do you think this is it playoffs or bust? Or are we making the
at this point? Yes, absolutely, yes.
All right. No, I hear that. I feel the same way. And it's clear, like, it's not arguable. It is inarguable. The front office feels the same way. That's why we traded for James Robinson. Breece Hall went down, and we could have done the same. Oh, woe is me. Damn, same old Jazz. We always injured. But we didn't do that. We traded for James Robinson within 24 hours. All right. And now Zach is acting a fool, and we could say, oh, that's our QB. He's still growing. He's only played 20 starts. He's developing. But no, we didn't do that. We threw him. He's not even suiting up. His pads, he got an extra week to wash them, all right? Because you don't need them. You don't need them this week, all right? Like,
he's taking his jersey. He's taking his jersey to his mom's house to do laundry. He's like, "Yo, book club this week? What's going on? Yo, mom, bring the girls over. I'm coming back to Utah."
Oh, so yeah, no. I feel like everyone feels like it's must win, which is why I do think we are going to lay that smack down. And next week the Vikings.
Yep.
I mean, they're gonna have another tough decision again. Like, I don't know. See, that's the thing that sucks about where we are right now. Is like, how long do we ride with Mike White? I guess that's a question that I think we should all go around and ask. Like, is it the first loss? Like, what is it? How long do we go with Mike White?
Abby, what do you got?
I think if he's got the hot hand, you got to stick with the hot hand. That's just kind of how it is. I mean, if he wins this week, you have to stick with him for next week. That's just no. I don't. And honestly, too, Zach hasn't had enough time to like really sit there and like really think about everything that he said and how horribly he's been playing. So I don't think just like a week break is enough time for him, especially. I was going to mention, I don't know if you heard like Booger McFarlane go off on Zach Wilson.
Yep.
Stephen A had a whole rant.
Yep.
And mind you, I didn't agree with all of it, but I get the gist of what they were trying to say. So if you really want to teach him some tough love, it has to be, I think, more than one game. So.
I think I'm going to push back slightly on something you said, Abby. I generally agree with the gist of what you're saying, but as we've said with Zach Wilson, winning isn't a QB stat. You know, so it's if we win this week against Trevor Siemian, like against Trevor Siemian, I'm going to say it again, Trevor Siemian. If we just beat him, like Mike White could literally complete 0 passes and we run the ball, have a defensive touchdown, and we can win. I think it comes down to how efficient are you against this defense? Can Mike White, even if we lose, but Mike White, and it's not going to, this scenario can't be possible, but say hypothetically, if we lose, but Mike White puts together a great game, I think you got to still roll with him too. If we win, but Mike White doesn't play well, if he's like Zach Wilson last week bad, do you go back to Wilson? I would probably say maybe not. I'd agree with you that I think he needs to be punished for more than 1 week. But then what does that leave us with? I don't want to go with Flacco. That's not a future move.
I've seen enough.
Exactly. And that's why I love this elevation of Mike White to be the next guy up. And that's why I'm saying Streveler is that if it's not Mike White, Streveler and Mike White, they're the only two not Zach Wilson possible future guys. And that's the only reason why I'm open-minded to Streveler. That's the only reason why I brought his name up. Because if this season ends and Mike White ain't the guy, and we know that, Zach Wilson ain't the guy, and we know that, Joe Flacco ain't the future, then now we have to go back to the drawing boards at quarterback. We owe that to our defense to give our defense a quarterback that can get points on the board. And do we trade up for Bryce Young? That's going to cost a lot of capital. Do we drop the bag on his Lamar Jackson or whoever the case? That's a lot of investment that you're doing. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't, but if we could avoid having to do that and have someone serviceable who's going to help us get points on the board, and we have them already on staff, and we can get them for a fraction of the price and keep picks, I would rather go that route. And that's why I want to test out some of these other young guys.
Yep.
It's just such a tough time because every win and loss counts so much. So to say, this experiment, we're going to, experiment right now is just so tough. It's so tough to say with Streveler and even White. I mean, if you got toddlers, right? And toddlers, they love to do things themselves, right? And if, let's say, for some reason, I don't know, you got a white carpet and the toddler, he has cranberry juice. You can't get the cranberry juice out the carpet. All right. And you need this cranberry juice to get into this cup. That's what you need, but you can't let it on the ground. Right. And you've seen this toddler do it. And you got 2 other toddlers. I'm not trying to experiment. That's not a great time to experiment. And that was probably the most ridiculous metaphor that could have popped into my head at this time. But I can't experiment. We're too deep. We're too deep. I can't do it. If Mike White ain't it, cry first. And then I don't know. Do we go to Streveler? I don't know. I truly don't know. If we lose this game and Mike White plays bad, obviously we cannot play him. He ain't it. The answer to the question, how long do we roll with Mike White? I don't think, unless his first bad game is this game, I wouldn't say his first bad game. I would say, and this is a question that we'll never be able to answer, is when the staff believes that Zach has truly learned his lesson. But there's a great possibility that he doesn't actually have the mental capacity to make the adjustment that we need him to make.
Mm-hmm.
How many people do you know, like adults, that can change their ways? Like the reason why we are who we are is because we've been conditioned this way for many years. Like it's not something where, today, I'm about to, no one has that Bruce Almighty moment. Morgan Freeman is not hitting up that no one's changing their lives right now. I don't know if he'll have that mental capacity to be able to now be confident, sharp, humble, a good leader, be able to actually look down the field with pressure because he's looking at the defender. Like, I don't know if he'll be able to actually fix those things because all those things are mental. And that's kind of the opposite of how this roster has been built. Salah, Joe Douglas, they have a type. They have dogs, people who mentally are addicted to football. They love football. The physical tools, right, might not be there. DJ Reed is 5'9", right? He's not a tall guy. He's very undersized, but he has it in here and he has it up here. So he's a Salah guy. And what has he done on the field? He's our best free agent signing this year. Arguably best cornerback, but if he's not, I mean, we have 2 top 5 cornerbacks, right? That's how this team has been built. All dogs up here. Every single person, go down the roster, go down. But Zach is the exact opposite. He is a physical gift, right? Big deep ball, get the quick release when he decides to throw it, quick release, all those different angles. But he doesn't have it up here. So he actually looks like a square peg in a round hole. So I don't know if there will be a time where Zach makes the adjustment. So I guess I don't even know what I'm saying. You got to roll with Mike White till further notice. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it takes 40 days to break a habit.
40 days.
We don't have 40 days.
Damn. So that's what I'm saying. We do not have 40 days. I say roll with Mike White till further notice. I mean, obviously, if he is just complete dog shit, as our coach said himself, then we got to pull him too. But
that also brings up the point, Woody, where you said, until he has a bad game. What's a bad game for Mike White look like versus Zach Wilson? I think how you define a bad game, I think a bad game Mike White can have against the Bears is going to look like a reason for hope from the Zach Pack. When you got these Zach Pack people like, oh, Zach's the best thing, we need to play him. I think a bad game from Mike White could look like a promising game for Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
And that's how you measure the bad. I mean, Zach Wilson's had numerous games in the 20s to 30s for QBR. That's a tough number to have there, man. So I think we're in a position where, especially for the coaching staff, how confused, how tough. I mean, you brought up Bruce Almighty before. There was that thing where he's doing typing. And he's like, oh, the Prime Minister of Sweden visited Washington today, and my tiny little nipples went to France. Like, that's how confused this coaching staff's going to be. Where it's like, what do you do? Like, I don't know words anymore. I can't speak. I can't think. Everything that we're trying to do, everything we thought in Zach, everything that we thought in Mike White is not going to add up. That's going to be a tough position to be in. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think his worst is going to be ultimately not that bad if it doesn't work out. He's got the time. Again, I'm going to say the Geno Smith thing, sitting on the bench and watching the games, thinking about how would you do this versus how he would do this. That's what I think led to the successful game that he had against the Bengals. That was the first game Mike White started in his entire career, and he balled out. Who's to say after a year later he can't go and put something good together? I think he'll be in good shape. I don't think a bad game is incoming, but if it was to, I don't think it's going to be like Zach Wilson bad game. I don't think it's going to be that bad.
Damn. That's a pretty solid breakdown. Whew. Wow. I'm out of breath. I mean, Fitz, that was a superb breakdown. Abby, do you have any final thoughts?
We need to win. Whoever helps us win. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. We need to win this game. So, but yeah, like you said, just he, as long as he's good, we don't need like a star quarterback. We really don't. Yes. We just need someone who can kind of do the fundamentals. But yeah, I mean, even if that's what you were saying, like what defines a bad game for him? And, like I was saying, I think it's going to take more than one game to kind of show what he's all about. So why not throw him out there with the Vikings, who are arguably one of the best teams in the NFL? You know what I mean? And they looked good yesterday too. So
they did.
Yeah,
I'm very nervous about that game.
And that's another bipolar team. Like, they got their butts kicked from Cowboys, and they go out and do what they did.
Yeah.
That, for us to go and have Chicago, because this is what we're talking about when it comes down to this whole coin thing. You know, if this ends up being correct, the likelihood that we lose to Chicago but go on a 5-game win streak against Minnesota, the Bills, Detroit, Jacksonville, and Seattle, that's a tough sell. That's a tough sell. And like, it's been amazing. And you know, I got to give this guy credit, this Nooner Nation, for doing this coin flip the way he's done. It's something that it's worked out this way. But this like we're saying, this is the week it has to end, because if it's not this week, we got 5 straight wins, the coin is telling us. So if it ends up busting during the win streak, I'd rather be wrong on a loss prediction from the coin than a win prediction, and that's what we're going to be set up for, with a 5-game win streak heading up after the third game. So
definitely. So like Abby said, anything it takes to win. Okay, and something's got to end. Something has to give. Either the coin streak ends or Fitz's life ends, because he will be in the woods. All right, he'll be in the woods. All right, so something has to give. And I like Fitz very much. All right, I might not show it on this show, but I like it very much. So hopefully that streak ends. Abby, thank you so much for joining us in the cockpit for Take Flight Talk. Thank you for taking flight with us. All right.
Let's jet up.
Jet up. And you know what? You have a great way that you end your rants. All right. We've seen Take Flight Talk. We see you. We see you out there. How you end your rants. Could you take us home as the honorary cockpit member, honorary pilot? Can you please take us home the way you know how? Let's do it.
I'm going to leave you how I always leave you. 1 word, 4 letters, JETS, Jets. Don't act like you don't already know.